All right, good day, everyone. So my name is Ghislain Armand, and today I'm here with Daniel Armand to talk about distribution and specifically about Randmar. So the first thing that is important to note is what do we sell? We sell product availability and next day delivery. So what that means is we allow manufacturers to put their inventory in our ecosystem of warehouses, and then we allow resellers to build a business model on top of the products and the manufacturers that were put into the ecosystem. So the company was founded in 1936 by our grandfather.
Exactly. Pioneer.
So we get to kind of build a dream that he had back in the days.
That's it. That's the way I envision it as well. Part of my days, I think, how can I take this to the next level and make our grandfather proud in a way?
Yeah, I like that. And that is by continuing his vision.
Exact.
That started back then. So back in the days, what type of products would he distribute?
So back in the day, he started with typewriters and typewriter accessories. And he also had people service his customers that were buying the typewriters.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant parts, accessories, typewriters.
Yeah, and again, they were selling to resellers as well back in the days. So he wasn't selling to consumers, which is still part of our business model today. And then in 1986, our father took over the company from typewriters.
That's it. So from typewriters to printers, it's kind of funny to think just like the industry moved from typewriters and it was still printing, right? It was still having people type in on paper and have that paper delivered to whatever customers that they were serving.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the same way we pivoted from the typewriters to printing and printing accessories, essentially.
Totally. So our dad, George, he was able to get contracts with the biggest companies of printers and printing supplies, the biggest manufacturers in Canada. So that includes HP, Brother, Canon, Epson, and Lexmark, and like many others. And then when we arrived in the company, so obviously, like printers and printing supplies are still a very, very big part of the business even today. But we were able to build something quite unique. We were able to build something that will allow us to differentiate the company in the very, very near future, even today.
That's it. For us, honestly, having those relationships with the manufacturers that our dad brought in, it helped us create the software and everything that we have available today for the resellers and manufacturers. So that history helped us move wherever we are going currently.
Correct.
Yes.
So then in 2016, this is when I arrived in the company. My background is software engineering. So obviously, it drove me kind of nuts a little bit to see the process. Not that it wasn't properly handled, like it's still an old company that operate for like decades, but everything was around the paper. All the information, there were no like interface that you could just put an order number and have all the information related to this order. You actually needed to find the paper. Like, where was this printer in the ecosystem of warehouses? Like, we had 6 at the time. It was crazy. So then just started optimizing all the processes, making the data available to us internally at first. And essentially, it took a couple of years just to be able to have access to the live data. And then when Danielle arrived in the company, in what year?
It was mid-COVID, 2020, that 2 week where I was in school. Back in the day, I thought it was just vacation for 2 weeks. Going to Randmar was just a natural move, when you're on vacation, you're looking for money to work. So I came in Randmar March 2020, and then never returned back to school, essentially.
And Danielle, she was actually the first user of the software that I built.
Yeah.
So obviously I built it for me, but since everybody in the company was very used to paper and just how everything was before, then I put everything around a search bar. But like a search bar, like you kind of need some guidance, especially if you've never worked too much with that. So Danielle, like, she knew nothing really about like all the operations.
That's
But
it.
after 2 weeks, like everybody went to her to have access to information.
And it's actually really funny because I thought since it was available to me, I was going on my computer, going on the system that you made available, and to me, I thought everyone was using it because I knew they had access to it, and I was wondering like why are they all coming to me? This is something that they can actually do themselves on the thing, but they had no knowledge of how to use it essentially. And well, it wasn't completely ready like it is today, of course. But
I agree.
I was just not aware that I was part of building the whole process, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool. And now today we essentially have a platform where most of the things is automated. So manufacturers, they just go on the manufacturer portal. They are able to put the inventory, see everything that is going on around their products in real time. And exactly the same thing with resellers. But resellers, again, they place their orders, they can track them, something that you can expect. So from the reseller part, it was just a natural transition. What makes us unique is that we also build this portal for us internally, for all our warehouses, and also for our manufacturers that we support.
Correct.
So it's really like a full platform. So now let's go into the different channels that we actually support. So manufacturers right now, when they place the inventory in our warehouses, we actually do more than just make the product available. That's what we sell, but we do a lot more.
Correct. On the portals, there's a bunch of actions that resellers have access to, manufacturers as well. All those portals are made to streamline distribution, essentially. So
Correct.
that way we can service those different channels.
So what are they, those channels?
Those channels, well, we have the physical resellers, of course, independent physical resellers. We have those independent resellers as well in the e-commerce section. We call them dropshippers in the modern world. Furthermore, we have the physical retailers that do also online business, so e-tailers. And through the resellers, we also have access to governments, to offices. Am I missing some?
Correct. So obviously all the different resellers that decided to build a business model on top of the manufacturers, essentially, if you start working with those resellers, you get to be able to penetrate this market as well. And there are ways that we will talk later on. Furthermore, there's all the marketplaces. So we know that today marketplaces are becoming like a business model that a lot of large companies are building around. And obviously, Amazon grew around that. So we help all the merchants support everything that is known as FBM, fulfillment by merchants. Some merchants are also going to do FBA, which we are going to help on. There's obviously there are buying groups that we support. So those are going to be different types of resellers that will all come together in order to increase their buying power and have access to better opportunities for the whole group. So we support that. We have a unique offer for this type of business.
Yes, and for manufacturers too, we have a Shopify integration essentially that helps with direct to consumer (DTC). So that way we can help the manufacturers penetrate that market too with ease.
Yeah, very much. And most of them now, they just go with a Shopify store for their e-commerce. It's just very easy. So for us, it was actually logical to just build an integrator, just a bridge between Shopify, any Shopify store, and our ecosystem.
Yes, and we know that Shopify also is an expert in building those bridge between the marketplaces and their own interface. So that's why we chose Shopify for Randmar.
Totally. Another one that we also help manufacturers is actually when they want to do the FBA themselves without passing through resellers. So we don't do that much, but whenever a manufacturer asks us to do it, well, yeah, we will print all the labels, put them on boxes for you guys, and then send it to the selected warehouse from Amazon. So that way you can still support those markets.
Yeah. But with all of that, there's a lot of problems for manufacturers and resellers in all those markets.
Correct. So obviously, when a manufacturer puts the inventory in our warehouses, we make them available to the resellers. All right. So resellers can then look at the different manufacturers and decide if they want to build a business model on top of it. So we currently have about over 2,000 resellers. So all those resellers are available to the manufacturers, which we allow you to penetrate the Canadian market a lot easier. Okay, I continue.
Yeah, sorry.
So most of the manufacturers as well, especially the smaller ones, normally they will also like to deal with the resellers themselves. So resellers, especially the physical one, they will place an order, let's say once a week, for all the products that they have been selling and the ones that they want to support. But right now, most of those manufacturers don't really have the expertise to do the warehousing, the logistic for all of this. And furthermore, they don't have the logistic requirements that are needed in 2024. Also, there are like minimum order quantities that resellers cannot necessarily met. So manufacturers kind of try to get away more and more from all those logistics expertise that they don't really want to develop.
Correct. And for manufacturers, another pain point would be that they don't have any visibility on what happens to their product after it leaves their factory. So that means they don't know the end users. They don't know exactly what's happening, where it's going. All that data is hidden from them when it leaves their own centers. So that's a problem.
Correct. So we are seeing, especially with the new ones that we're trying to approach, is they don't want to deal through distribution. And the main reason for that is because they lose the control over the inventory that was placed for that territory. And that's not something they want to see distributors do. They like to keep control over their inventory because it's directly associated with their brand. And one of the things that Amazon actually created as a problem for manufacturers is pricing arbitrage. What that means is a lot of resellers, as soon as they see a better price somewhere on a product, they will just buy it and then put it on Amazon under a specific pricing. So what that means is the resellers are not going to respect the minimum advertising pricing that is required for the ecosystem, the online ecosystem. So essentially, we give them the opportunity to monitor all the market that is going in Canada. And if they want, they can just decide, you know what, this reseller is not respecting different like standards that we have for our brand. So you are able to just not qualify or remove him access to your products, which is kind of a unique offer.
Yes, and that level of restriction is also something that we offer at the category level, at the product level as well, not only for all the products that the manufacturer supports, but so that way it kind of creates opportunities in a way for resellers to bring those products to specific markets.
I like that.
Yeah.
So that is for manufacturers, the ones that we identify. Now let's go around the resellers.
What are reseller pain points?
Yeah, what are they? So obviously product availability, because that's what
Big
we
one.
sell, right? So resellers, their job is actually to gather the sell. It is a very, very hard thing to do in general. And this thing is very much underrated. So whenever they get the sell, we want to ensure that they can fulfill on the promise that they made to the end user, the customer.
Exactly. There's nothing worse than a bad reputation when you're a reseller selling a product.
Correct, exactly. So we allow them to fulfill their requirements.
Exactly.
Furthermore,
We have, and I'm losing my train of thought here a little bit. The reseller pain points, they need relationships.
exactly.
They need relationships with brands that has accountability. You know, they need these people to help them grow their business. And with Randmar, we help the resellers have access to quality manufacturers and quality products for those customers that they're gonna get.
Correct. And even furthermore, so the market changed constantly, and to no surprise to anyone, it's just a constant of the universe, right? So resellers, it's actually their job to identify the new opportunities in the market. And whenever they identify those opportunities, it's like, okay, yeah, that product would fit well into this ecosystem. Then, like, who did they go to next? It's like, okay, try to go to the manufacturer directly. It's actually hard to open an account because of the different requirements, and nor do they want to go through the minimum orders and stuff like that. So whenever they identify an opportunity that they think would fit well for a specific manufacturers, then they want to be able to have access to the products.
So how did they solve the problems today, the resellers?
So multiple ways, obviously. The first one is just there are other distributors out there. Not a lot, but there are other distributors. Most of them won't have the requirements that are needed like in 2024 in terms of logistics, because we know Amazon kind of like restructured all of it with like next day delivery anywhere in the world pretty much. So all the distribution partners kind of need to be able to be at the level that is required.
Yeah, so you talked about distribution, but there's also going directly to manufacturers. For resellers, when they have a lot of product offerings, it's hard for certain brands to meet minimums, because what happens is when they source products directly from those manufacturers, they need to meet a minimum of ordering, which is very high in most cases with brands, recognized brands. So that's why the resellers would go to this distribution. But then in distribution, the distributors decide the rules around ordering, where it's going to for the different types of resellers that we talked about previously.
And there's also another one that is more for like the typical drop shipper, whatever we see kind of online on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. Resellers or drop shippers are going to contact a factory, most likely in China, where the factory is going to simply white label the products, and then they bring it to a specific territory through a 3PL. And then whenever they get the sell, they are able to fulfill it. But it's not a known brand. It's not a reputable brand. So what that means is normally the quality is going to go down. So the number of defect is going up. Just number of problems in general are increasing through that way of solving the problems that resellers have.
Yes, and another thing, when resellers decide to go that way, they kind of become manufacturers in a way. And then it's the same thing. They have the same problems, but double, because they're acting as manufacturers and resellers.
Correct. So let's go into our offering now. What makes us a little bit unique, different?
Well, we're very unique
I
with the
agree.
solutions that we have. So that is the portals that we developed. Just like Ghislain did for internal processes, we also built that for all our customers. So we have a reseller portal, we have a manufacturer portal. There's also a partner dash. We'll go into that maybe another time.
Yeah, maybe another
Let's focus
time.
on the resellers and manufacturers for now. But essentially, it's a place where people go to work without any friction from distribution in the back, but with all the advantages that distribution offers.
Correct. So one of the things that I've seen like very, very fast as a problem for distributors is we're kind of in the middle of relationship with resellers and manufacturers. Every single time, if there's a reseller that, let's say, has an opportunity to put 100 printers in one of the tower in Montreal, well, they kind of expect a better deal than just the generic one that is already there. So back in the days, they would actually contact the distribution partner and say, hey, I have this opportunity. And then the distribution partner would go to the manufacturer and say, hey, this reseller has this opportunity for this end user. And then it would take a long time to just, okay, well, yes, manufacturer, we approve the discount. Okay, then distribution approves it to the reseller, and then the reseller approves it to the end user.
Yes.
So we built a platform that really allows resellers to get in touch right away with the manufacturers without any friction of coming to us in order to make this deal or this opportunity happens.
Right, because you talked also about product availability, which is what we offer. So within the platforms, the manufacturers can actually put inventory in the warehouse that we have across Canada, and then the resellers can directly go on their portal, see that the inventory is available, and then pull directly from the portal without having so many emails sent back and forth between distribution, manufacturers, resellers. So that's really something with the portals that made the problem disappear, essentially.
Also, as a reseller, you don't necessarily have minimum order quantity. All right. So, and also you're able to mix all the manufacturers. So let's say you close your day. Okay, I've sell all those products. This one needs to be drop shipped. This one needs to go to my location. Well, you just place those orders according to your needs, and all the manufacturers are going to be mixed with one another, the ones that you support and that you're building a business model on top of. So that is quite a unique offer for resellers, because you're not direct with the manufacturers, you're direct with Randmar. So Randmar is going to support a lot of manufacturers. I think we're at about 30, over 30 at the moment. So whatever products that you ordered from those manufacturers will all be packaged together and drop ship or ship to you as you want.
Exact. One more thing too, for manufacturers, we talked about having that visibility over what happens to the product when it leaves their warehouse. The portal displays all the data of the manufacturers, even because we only sell to resellers, Randmar as a distributor, we still show who buys the product at the end of the line of consumerism, essentially. So that data is available for the manufacturers directly on the portal.
Nice. Yeah. So we really help resellers and manufacturers develop opportunities with one another without creating any friction in between. That's really essentially the product that we have. So now our business model. So step one in the process, we start with manufacturers. All right, so we do not onboard any manufacturers. We're extremely selective about the manufacturers because resellers will then build a business model of those manufacturers. So the quality of the businesses that we want to attract in the ecosystem, I would say, is of high quality. All right, we don't want to deal with products from China that won't have any support, that may break and just not be of the standards that we expect our ecosystem to have.
That's it. In the same way that we want to attract those manufacturers, quality manufacturers, the resellers, when they get started with Randmar, they have to pay a $50 fee in order to create their reseller account and get started in selling all those quality products.
Correct. And this $50 is essentially there is administrative fees in behind. All right. We do a background check on the business because we want to deal with other resellers. We want to deal with businesses. We don't deal to consumers directly. And as we mentioned at the early beginning of the podcast, where our grandfather, when he started his business, that was a key offer, is he was dealing exclusively with resellers, and we do not go into competition with other resellers. We already understand how hard it is to make the sell, and Randmar, we want to focus around product availability and next day delivery. This is what we do best. And we rely on this ecosystem of resellers. So the $50 that we put is simply a small barrier to entry because we want to double check who you are, and we want to ensure that you have a registered business.
A registered business, and also the will to actually grow your business and use all the tools and move products. That's at the end of the line where we just want to move products for the manufacturers.
Correct. And just have people that build their business around ours as well. All right, an ecosystem. And then furthermore, how do we make our money is whenever there is a sale happen, we take a percentage of the inventory that we finance, because essentially manufacturers, when they put the inventory in our warehouses, this inventory becomes Randmar's property, which means that we now have some payables. We now have to pay for this inventory. And then whenever the reseller makes a sale, at that moment, when we create the invoice, we add a small percentage on top of the pricing. So we don't make money off the shipping fees, and we currently do not have a subscription fee as well for the platform.
So why do this now?
Why do this now? I love that.
Yeah, so we know there's e-commerce everywhere. Everything's going digital, and e-commerce is often represented in doing drop shipping, and that's a really hard market to navigate when you're getting started.
I agree. So we know that Amazon completely changed the game for all the resellers, all the manufacturers, and all of the distribution. So essentially, all the supply chain needed to adjust to it. So all our operations are actually built on top of the standard from Amazon's. Because very early, when I started in the company in 2016, like one of the niche or opportunity that I found was like around Amazon and just online in general. It was an opportunity that no one really, all of Randmar customers, most of them were not taking care of this opportunity. So I started to contact a couple of resellers that wanted to go into this market, and then started working with some of them. And we just build the platform on top of those requirements. So that's why today we actually have an ecosystem of warehouses that will start positioning the inventory automatically based off where sales are going, because we want to ensure next day delivery. This is a standard that Amazon has put in the whole ecosystem of supply chain. So whenever a reseller puts an order in our system, we already have a process in place to say, hey, we already know that there's going to be a demand for that product in next week in that region of Canada. So we will automatically place the inventory specifically in one warehouse to ensure that next day delivery when the order is going to be met.
Yes, the Randmar web is really has extended for a couple of years now with all the tools and the software that we offer the resellers and the manufacturers. But essentially, one thing in distribution is it's completely hidden. The consumer does not know that distribution exists. it orders on Amazon, it goes on Google, all those marketplaces, but it really has no idea what happens between the brand that has the product and the product getting to their house. So for us, it's important that we get the word out there about distribution and that we get the word out there about Randmar for people that want to start businesses and get products and move products.
Correct. But all this, one thing that is important to mention is we do not go direct to consumer. We do not advertise. We want to stay under the radar, but we want the community of resellers to be aware of us. And same thing for the manufacturers. So everything we do, including the podcast, is for an audience that wants to build business models around our ecosystem.
Correct. And distribution, like we said, those minimum orders, if you want to get started in a business selling brands, it's getting higher and higher. So to aware, again, it's important that we get the word about distribution out there for resellers.
Correct. Now, for manufacturers and just resellers also, we know that data is kind of the new oil right now, right? Data is becoming increasingly important. And the platforms that we have built are transparent. So what that means is we make the data available as things are happening. So a reseller, let's go with a use case where a reseller has a Shopify store. We're able to retrieve the order automatically, assign it to the reseller account, and then give the order to the closest warehouse to the end user that has inventory. And as soon as that part happened, the manufacturer has access to the data. The manufacturer is able to say, oh, that end user, like all my products, they see the dashboard with all the products of them that are currently on order, and they can even click on the order number and see who's the end user. So extremely transparent on both ends. So we judge that this is a key differentiator because for manufacturers, it's very hard for them to have access to data from their distribution partner. So we make it available not only like through reporting because we're integrated with most of them. They have access to some reports. I want to know the sales from that date to that date already available. But in real time, there is an order that has been placed. Oh, Randmar, it's going to ship from the Montreal location. Oh, it's currently on order. Wow, it just got shipped. They can see that the order got shipped. Furthermore, they see also all the back orders. So, oh, this order cannot be fulfilled because Randmar doesn't have any inventory. Then the manufacturer can already take action into, all right, let's put an order in already. Mm-hmm. Even though we have a reordering process that you might want to talk about.
Yes. So we love automation, right? We love everything that's easy and automated. And reordering is one thing that we focused on when we built out the software. So essentially, when you toggle on the auto reorder in your dash, once you place the first order, the system will determine the need for the product to be in specific warehouses across Canada. So let's say that you place inventory in Edmonton, but the product actually goes somewhere in Quebec. Well, if the auto reorder is on, the system will place automatically the item next time it orders in the Montreal warehouse or whatever warehouse that's closest to the end user. So that way, once that whole process, the ball is rolling, the user, the manufacturer does not have to do anything. It can monitor what the system is automatically doing, but essentially it removes that tasks from the manufacturer when they deal with Randmar and distribution.
Yeah, totally. We don't have anyone overseeing purchases, which is kind of crazy in the distribution world.
Correct, because we have so many accounts with different manufacturers and we have resellers asking, again, to another functionality that we offer resellers, so the system will automatically reorder when it sees an opportunity or a sale that was recorded. But if there's no sale recorded, how does the system know to get products somewhere? Right now, resellers directly on their portal, they can ask for inventory to be stored in the Randmar warehouses. They can ask, oh, okay, I have this opportunity again in a tower, in an office. There's no product in the Randmar system, but the product is available for me to buy. Then they can request the stock and have it shipped directly in any warehouse. So that again removes friction in distribution.
Correct. That's a functionality from the platform directly. Oh, you want to support that product? Okay, yeah, support. It's going to be part of the like added to the next order, and
That's
obviously we will start reordering it eventually.
Exactly. So one more thing too, with distribution. Actually, if you can go into it.
Well, the next subject is what are the requirements for manufacturers? Like, what are we looking for when onboarding a manufacturer? So the first one is like, we want to ensure that you're already there. All right. You've already at least developed the direct to consumer channel, the Amazon channel. That's kind of a requirement because you already have a brand there. So we will help you reach all the other channels, but we want to ensure that resellers are going to want to build a business model on top of your brand. This is extremely important for us.
Yes, so that means also return policies with manufacturers. We want the resellers to know because returns occur. We don't like them, but they happen. So we want the manufacturers to have a return policy that's clear for resellers.
Correct, because they are building a business model on top of it.
That's it.
Very, very important.
After that, we have a dedicated reps in Randmar to help again.
Correct. So we put, we help we help resellers communicate with manufacturers. So if manufacturers do not allow a rep for the platforms, then it's just resellers kind of using what is strictly available to them. But if there's no one to talk to, they won't bring large opportunities to you guys. And we know that, like, for manufacturers, that's what they are looking for, and even for resellers.
Yeah, so basically we're looking for manufacturers that want to work and use Randmar and all the advantages that Randmar offers.
Correct. And another one that is very important for us is we don't want manufacturers that deals with like 1,000 different like resellers or distributors, all right? Because we're just going to end up competing against resellers, and we're not even into this industry. Like, we make product available and provide next day delivery. So we're not here to compete against other resellers. So it's very important that the manufacturers that we deal with understand the value of distribution. If they don't really see it, well, that's totally fine. You can continue your business model, and yeah.
Yeah, other basic things that we want for manufacturers is being registered in the territories that we service, and also having prepaid minimums for minimum ordering directly to manufacturers. So what prepaid is when you meet the minimum of ordering, the shipping is free to the different warehouses.
Correct. So let's say you put a minimum order at $20,000. We will ensure we meet this minimum, but at least provide transportation free of charge to the selected warehouse that was chosen by our system.
Yes. So that was for manufacturers. Now for resellers, the requirements are simpler, to be honest. So first of all, being registered as well. Having a website in today's day and age, it's very important to have a website. I don't think you can have a business today, and definitely in future years, if you don't have a website.
Correct. And one thing that is also very important is like we don't want business that, oh, I have a printer need here, I meet your requirements, I'm just going to order one printer to go to my location. We don't want those resellers. We are looking for resellers that wants to build business models around the manufacturers that we support. We want you to source from us on a daily or weekly basis, because this is what we also provide to the manufacturers. We help them grow different channels. So, like a reseller, we require them to also have something to provide to the whole ecosystem. All right. So, we're just like a facilitator. We want resellers and manufacturers to work with one another. Um, and we're just selling product availability and next day delivery.
That's it. So when they have everything that Randmar offers, they should be able to grow their business.
Yeah.
So who are the competitors?
Competitors. So obviously other distribution partners from the manufacturers. We have 3PLs as well. A lot of new manufacturers, they just like take control of their inventory, deal with 3PL, and develop their channels by themselves, which is like totally fine.
Mm-hmm. There's also fulfillment by Amazon.
Correct.
That's a competitor to us. When manufacturers go the FBA route, it costs them a lot of money, and they're losing a big chunk of that margins that they could make if they were going through Randmar for moving products and having product availability on the Amazon platform.
Yeah, totally. So now let's talk about the team. So we have a very small team, but extremely efficient. So currently we like on a daily basis, we have about like over 300 resellers that will buy from us. And we currently have 2 dedicated rep, like 2 high quality rep. Like they can take a lot of like questions from resellers and manufacturers. So Lauren and Massimo, first of all, thank you for being part of the team. We really appreciate everything that you do. And but two individuals that will take care of customer service. So if you are a reseller or a manufacturer, chances are you will speak with them, you will have your questions answered, and they will also help you grow your business as much as they can.
Yes, and that also means French and English for all those resellers in Canada, in Quebec. We know there's a lot of French businesses, so we're able to service people in both languages.
Correct.
Yeah, but you know what that meant? Essentially, we had all the needs. That meant all the emails in the past that we received, all the pain points that we had as a distributor. Having only 2 people doing customer service today means that the platforms are very practical.
Correct. Because whenever we see, okay, this is a recurring question, we try to just build the feature within the app. So again, any feedback that is providing to us, we listen to them, we look at them, and we say, okay, yeah, we can do something about it. And we do. And also, like we have strong teams in all our warehouses. This is something that we tend to forget, but like there are quality individuals in each of the warehouse, and we have an extremely good culture within the company as well. Like I like going into our warehouses and people will wear the Randmar brand that we have. It's like,
yeah, it's part of the core.
Correct.
One thing too with Randmar, I think we made a name for ourselves with how flexible we are as a company and with the solutions that we offer. So that involves everyone within Randmar, the people in the warehouses, the customer service reps, us too. So I'm actually proud myself a lot about how flexible Randmar is.
Correct. So we build some processes where, and a reseller, when you place an order, you have internal comment. Well, yeah, put an internal comment. We will see it. Actually everybody will see it. They will be able to act on it and to ensure that we are flexible, as Danielle mentioned.
Yes. Okay. So we talked about it a bit, but we didn't mention it really with words. But one thing that Randmar is really good at too, because of all the relationships that we had with manufacturers in the past. We built when our dad took over essentially and had those contracts with big companies, HP, Canon. All these companies have a lot of requirements with their partners and a lot of requirements in distribution in all the different channels because they are in every channels these brands. So Randmar, because the partners that we had for so long were so picky in their requirements, everything that we built is made to onboard any company of those.
Any manufacturers or resellers of any size,
That's
like
it.
any partners, because of what our dad has built, it allow us to create functionalities that are required. So one of them, something we didn't touch very much, it's actually like qualifications. So I think it was 2016, HP came up with a strategy where they would ask distributor to only sell to the qualified resellers. So that was a challenge because we weren't used to that. It wasn't part of like the business model that we had. But we were selling mostly to the same customers, and most of them like were actually approved by HP. But like over time, as new resellers came on board, and as HP kind of remodeled their qualifications requirement, we had to accept new resellers, drop others. So we in the manufacturer portals, manufacturers can decide which resellers has access to their product. This is something the manufacturer decides. And on the reseller end, they are also able to say, hey, I would like to start supporting your product. And we have a flow for onboarding them into the communications between resellers and manufacturers. But all this is all something our dad actually created. Like, it's very impressive the way that he was able to develop all the relationship with those large manufacturers and build, like, ensure the distribution channels were all developed and created his own and unique offer compared to the other distributors that were there back in the time. And, we are here. We are actually proud of everything that we're working on because of the history that like our family gave us. And this is something like we are very, very much grateful for.
Yes. And it's a very special thing too to be working with your brother and your dad, of course, in the same company. And we also have our sister that does all the merch that all the workers are wearing in the warehouses and at home or whatnot. So it's fun to have, the legacy within
the family being embedded into the company.
That's it. And I'm sure our granddad would be very proud of that too, honestly.
Totally.
Yeah.
He has his picture in our conference room next to our dad's.
Yeah, that moved many times because we moved from different offices throughout the years.
Correct.
Yeah. But we keep the roots.
Totally. And just for everybody to know, the name Randmar, when you look at it, it's actually Rosario Arma. So R for Rosario, the name of our grandfather, and then Arma, our last name, but just mixed a little bit to make a name like Randmar. And
yeah.
Family business.
Yeah, fun fact.
So on this, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I really hope that you've learned about Randmar, learned about the problems that we solve, the ones that we facilitate, and the ecosystem that we are creating. Just because we're not just doing that for ourselves, we are doing that for all the partners that we have in the ecosystem.
Yes, and you can always go on randmar.io if you wish to learn more. You can get started directly there. No fee associated to creating an account and watching what we do.
All right. Thank you.